All 32 NFL teams, good or bad, have experienced some regretful moments throughout their history that they probably wish that they could take back. The best teams are the ones who move on from these critical mistakes and find redemption. The worst teams, on the other hand, are the ones who never stop making such regrettable choices. With all that said, here's a look at every NFL team's biggest regret over the past decade, from 2010 to 2020. Arizona Cardinals, drafting Josh Rosen. The number 10 selection from the 2018 draft never had a chance behind a horrid offensive line with a very limited supporting cast. He had 11 touchdowns and 14 interceptions, losing 10 of 13 starts in his rookie year. Arizona wound up selecting future star Kyler Murray with the first overall pick in the ensuing 2019 draft. And Rosen was flipped to the Miami Dolphins. Taking Murray was the right call and all, but they wasted a high-end pick on a guy whom they obviously never believed in 1 year earlier. Atlanta Falcons, clock management in Super Bowl 51. Atlanta had a 28-3 lead against the New England Patriots in Super Bowl 51. All they had to do was run the ball, bleed some clock, and they'd clinch their first ever Lombardi trophy. But offensive coordinator Kyle Shanahan kept calling passing plays. Combine that all with the other mistakes the Falcons made, and it was just enough for Tom Brady and the Pats to mount the most historic comeback in Super Bowl history. Baltimore Ravens, Joe Flacco's $120 million extension. Flacco led Baltimore to a Super Bowl 47 championship, and he earned Super Bowl MVP honors, but the Ravens got overly excited about Flacco's hot playoff run and quickly awarded him a 6-year extension worth $120 million. Baltimore only got to the playoffs once more with Flacco, and his final 6 seasons with the team were marred by injuries and inconsistent play. Buffalo Bills, hiring Rex Ryan. The Bills hired former New York Jets head coach Rex Ryan, hoping that the defensive guru would help them topple Tom Brady and the rival Patriots. But Ryan only lasted 2 seasons in Buffalo, compiling a 15-16 record. He was strongly disliked by his own players and subsequently fired before the team's final game of 2016. The Carolina Panthers, rescinding Josh Norman's franchise tag. Norman was arguably the NFL's top cornerback in 2015, helping the Panthers reach Super Bowl 50. He was given the franchise tag in the 2016 offseason, but the Panthers ultimately decided to rescind it after they failed to reach a new deal. Norman wound up signing with Washington, and the Panthers' defense completely cratered without him in 2016. Maybe these two were just a perfect fit for one another. You have to think that the Panthers regret not giving him at least one more season after seeing the direction this team has gone in ever since they let him walk. Chicago Bears, trading up for Mitch Trubisky. The QB desperate Bears traded up via the San Francisco 49ers to select Trubisky with the number 2 selection in 2017. We'll keep this one short and sweet. They passed on Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson that year. Enough said. Cincinnati Bengals, drafting John Ross. The Bengals wanted to complement Pro Bowl wideout AJ Green, so they drafted Washington speedster John Ross with the number 9 selection in 2017. Injuries and inconsistent play made Ross a big-time bust in Cincy. Oh, and they passed on Mahomes, Watson, Marshawn Lattimore, TJ Watt, and several other star players in the process. Cleveland Browns, 2014 first-round selections. The 2014 NFL Draft will go down as one of the best of the 21st century. But don't tell that to the Browns. They took Oklahoma State corner Justin Gilbert at number 8 overall, while passing on, wait for it, Anthony Barr, Odell Beckham Jr., Aaron Donald, and Zach Martin. Cleveland then traded up to select Johnny Manziel with the number 22 pick, while passing on guys like Derek Carr and Teddy Bridgewater. Dallas Cowboys, keeping Jason Garrett forever. Garrett should have been fired when the Cowboys went 8-8 in 2011, or after they went 8-8 again in 2012, or after they went 8-8 again in 2013. But nope, Jerry Jones liked the guy, and that's all that mattered. In 10 seasons with Garrett at the helm, Dallas only made the playoffs 3 times, and they only won 2 postseason games. Garrett was finally let go after the 2019 season, about 8 years too late. Denver Broncos, not signing Colin Kaepernick. Peyton Manning retired after the Broncos won Super Bowl 50, and the team was desperate for a new quarterback. John Elway was close to trading for San Francisco 49ers starter Colin Kaepernick, but a deal didn't materialize because they couldn't agree on a pay cut. Well, the Broncos have missed the playoffs every year since 2016 as they continue to cycle through QBs. In 2018, Elway said, "Colin had his chance to be here." Yeah, and you've had a million chances to find a viable quarterback, John, yet we still continue to wait. Detroit Lions, replacing Jim Caldwell with Matt Patricia. The Lions fired Caldwell after a 9-win season in 2017. They went 36-28 in his 4 seasons there with 2 playoff appearances. But that wasn't good enough for the longtime losing franchise. The Lions replaced him with New England Patriots defensive coordinator Matt Patricia, who led the team to consecutive last-place finishes in the NFC North. Green Bay Packers, not firing Mike McCarthy earlier. McCarthy led Green Bay to 4 NFC title game appearances and a Super Bowl 45 championship, but he was given way too long of a leash in his final years. There were reports of disconnect between he and his players, many of who believed their coach was slacking on the job. But Green Bay wouldn't fire McCarthy after they limped to a 4-7-1 record in the midst of the 2018 season. Just look at how much better they've been under Matt LaFleur. Why didn't they make the coaching change earlier? Houston Texans trading DeAndre Hopkins. Yeah, sure, trade your all-pro wideout for an expensive past his prime running back. Then start out so bad that your head coach and GM who executed the trade get fired. What a mess. Indianapolis Colts, the Trent Richardson trade. The Colts traded a 2014 first-round pick to the Browns for running back Trent Richardson. All the Colts got out of the former 3rd overall pick was 29 games, 977 total rushing yards, 6 touchdowns, 3.1 yards per carry, and 5 fumbles. Yeah, probably wasn't worth a first-rounder. Jacksonville Jaguars, hiring Tom Coughlin. In 2017, the Jaguars brought back former head coach Tom Coughlin to serve as the team's executive vice president of football operations. It worked in year 1 as the Jaguars won the AFC South en route to an AFC title game appearance. But Coughlin's hands-on style and hot temper made him strongly disliked by the Jaguars players. He inexplicably handed quarterback Blake Bortles a 3-year, $54 million deal, then released him 1 year later. The entire Jaguars culture was destroyed by Coughlin, who was fired late in the 2019 season. Kansas City Chiefs, Dee Ford lining up offside. The Chiefs may have won Super Bowl 54, but they should have captured the Lombardi trophy 1 year earlier as well. Travarius Ward picked off Tom Brady to apparently seal the 2018 AFC Championship game, but the play was nullified because Dee Ford lined up offside. The Patriots capitalized on the mistake and eventually won in overtime. If Ford moved a couple of inches back, the Chiefs would have been Super Bowl bound. Simple as that. Las Vegas Raiders, the Carson Palmer trade. During the 2011 season, the Raiders traded their 2012 first-rounder plus a conditional second-round selection to the Cincinnati Bengals for disgruntled quarterback Carson Palmer. What did the Raiders get out of that? 8 wins, 16 losses, 35 touchdowns, and 30 interceptions. That is a regretful transaction if I've ever seen one. Los Angeles Chargers, relocating to Los Angeles. Chargers owner Dean Spanos broke the hearts of San Diego when he decided to relocate his team to Los Angeles in 2017. LA isn't a major football market to begin with, and the Rams already have a monopoly on the fans there, having played in LA from 1946 to 1994 prior to their 2-decade stay in St. Louis. Spanos lost a loyal and passionate fan base, all for a few extra bucks. Was it really worth it, Dean? Los Angeles Rams, drafting Sam Bradford. The Rams drafted Bradford first overall in 2010. Though he had some nice moments, injuries and inconsistent play prevented the 2008 Heisman Trophy winner from living up to expectations. He won just 18 of 49 starts as a Ram. St. Louis ended up trading him to the Philadelphia Eagles in a blockbuster move for Nick Foles during the 2015 offseason. Miami Dolphins, hiring Adam Gase. Gase was Miami's head coach from 2016 to 2018, and other than one fluky playoff berth in 2016, his tenure was rather disastrous. Just look at how many guys like Ryan Tannehill, Kenyon Drake, and Devontae Parker excelled after Gase left. Oh, and his replacement, Brian Flores, is doing just fine in Miami. Thanks. Minnesota Vikings, signing Kirk Cousins. Case Keenum won 11 of 14 starts with the Vikings in 2017. He threw the Minneapolis Miracle to Stephon Diggs and led many to the NFC Championship game. But apparently, that wasn't good enough. The Vikings bid him farewell and signed Kirk Cousins to a 3-year, fully guaranteed $84 million deal in the ensuing offseason. Cousins has been maddeningly inconsistent as a Viking, and he hasn't been able to repeat Keenum's success. Couldn't they have given Case just one more chance? New England Patriots, the Jimmy Garoppolo trade. Jimmy G was supposed to be Tom Brady's successor, but the former was dealt to the San Francisco 49ers at the 2017 trade deadline for only a 2018 second-round pick. When healthy, Garoppolo has been a serviceable starting QB, leading San Fran to a Super Bowl 53 appearance. Imagine what he could have done in the New England offense. Or, maybe Belichick should have gotten way more than just a second-rounder. And Tom Brady's departure in 2020 made this trade look even worse. New Orleans Saints signing Jairus Byrd. In the 2014 offseason, the Saints signed 3-time Pro Bowl safety Jairus Byrd to a 6-year, $54 million deal, hoping he'd be the final piece of a Super Bowl championship. But Byrd was an awful fit in the Saints' defense, and the unit completely crumbled after a strong showing in the 2013 season. They released him and his brutal contract after 3 lackluster years. New York Giants drafting Ereck Flowers. The Giants drafted Miami guard Ereck Flowers with the number 9 selection in 2015, hoping to bolster the pass protection for Eli Manning. Flowers played just 51 games over 4 seasons, unable to develop into a starting caliber offensive lineman. He was released in the midst of the 2018 season. Oh, and the next pick after Flowers in that draft was Todd Gurley. New York Jets hiring Mike Maccagnan as GM. Okay, where to start? The Adam Gase hiring? The CJ Mosley, Tremaine Johnson, Darrell Revis, and Le'Veon Bell contracts? The Darren Lee and Sam Darnold draft picks? These Jets are an absolute mess, and Maccagnan deserves much of the blame. Philadelphia Eagles replacing Andy Reid with Chip Kelly. After firing future Hall of Fame head coach Andy Reid, the Eagles replaced him with Oregon head coach Chip Kelly. The first year was a success, as Kelly led the Eagles to 10 wins and an NFC East division title. But Kelly alienated himself from his players. He forced fan favorites like Deshaun Jackson, LaShawn McCoy, and Nick Foles out of town, and he struck out on massive free agent signings like Byron Maxwell and DeMarco Murray. The Eagles fired Kelly late in the 2015 season. And just 2 years later, the team was celebrating a Super Bowl 52 championship with Doug Peterson. Pittsburgh Steelers signing Ladarius Green. Being one of the most well-run organizations in football, the Steelers don't experience many regretful moments. So we'll nitpick and settle on the full-year $20 million deal they gave to tight end Ladarius Green in 2016 free agency. He played just 6 games and caught 18 passes for 304 yards and 1 touchdown. The Steelers released him just after 1 season. San Francisco 49ers running Jim Harbaugh out of town. Sure, cut your ties with your coach who led you to 3 straight NFC Championship games and a Super Bowl 47 appearance. The 49ers are finally relevant again, but it took them some time to get back to this point following Jim Harbaugh's departure. Seattle Seahawks throwing the ball from the 1-yard line. Little explanation needed here. If they feed Marshawn Lynch, they're back-to-back Super Bowl championships. But they threw the ball instead. And the rest, as they say, is history. Tampa Bay Buccaneers drafting Mark Barron. The Bucs drafted Alabama safety Mark Barron with the number 7 selection in 2012. He lasted just 2.5 seasons there. And the next few picks were Ryan Tannehill, Luke Kuechly, Stephon Gilmore, Dontari Poe, and Fletcher Cox, all Pro Bowlers. Tennessee Titans drafting Jake Locker. Desperate for a QB, the Titans reached for Washington product Jake Locker, taking him with the number 8 pick in 2011. Injuries, inconsistent play, poor coaching, and a lackluster supporting cast led to a disappointing career for Locker. He only appeared in 30 games over 4 years, tossing 27 touchdowns against 22 interceptions, and retiring after the 2014 season. Oh, and the Titans passed on subsequent first-round picks like J.J. Watt, Mike Pouncey, Ryan Kerrigan, Cam Jordan, and Cameron Hayward. Washington football team trading up for RG3. Washington traded their 2012, 2013, and 2014 first-rounders, plus their 2012 second-rounder to the Rams, in exchange for the number 2 pick in the 2012 draft, which they used on Baylor quarterback Robert Griffin III. RG3 won the Offensive Rookie of the Year award and led Washington to an NFC East division in 2012. Sadly, injuries quickly derailed his career. thanks to the team's complete mishandling of his knee injuries. If he landed elsewhere, RG3 could have been an all-time great. This isn't on Griffin. Washington should have managed his injuries properly. Or better yet, maybe they should have just kept all those picks and passed on Griffin altogether. What about you? In your opinion, what's your favorite team's biggest regret of the past decade? Join us in the comment section below. If you like this video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps out a ton, and hey, we appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.